Today is the last but one day, the penultimate day. Last time I had talked about the succession planning, how succession planning is important in the process of talent management in any organization. And that's a very important part of talent management, that every organization has to make its planning about how they're going for succession management. If at all you have got any question, you can ask me, otherwise I'll go ahead with my schedule. Is there any question that you want to ask me regarding succession planning? Anybody? Otherwise, I'll proceed for the today's session. Okay, may I proceed? All right. So today we are going to talk about something different. So far, we have talked about various aspects of talent management.
Sir, good
Yeah,
morning.
please,
Sir,
morning.
there was one question because you said last time na Peter Drucker का वो जो statement था managers are made, they are not born.
Yeah,
तो उसमें ना like I was having because we have seen live examples in our company also.
yeah.
तो मुझे सिर्फ वही था कि succession management because in our company like multinational ना अभी कुछ मतलब at some level I have seen there is no succession planning also. ऐसा कुछ करके नहीं रखते. They haven't built in that in the system. What will be who will be the successor of after myself, like after whom if there is a MD, he is not having a succession plan. That is with the like lies with the US offices. So that was a doubt कि how this because आज की डेट में वो that statement still it is a debatable statement कि कैसे वो they are made and they are not born. तो आजकल तो मतलब there is you know all depends upon the relations and the context with the top level.
They see you are confusing between two, three things. Number one, you are talking about is born. Number two, they're made. Number three aspect, you have brought the contacts and all that, right? So when you are talking about whether somebody is born or somebody is made, definitely people are made. They're born with certain qualities, certain potentials. Nobody is born with the skills, certain potentials are there. And if those potentials get an opportunity to get developed, then people get developed and people get that skill and everything, and they become a competent person, they become a competent manager. And when you're talking of contacts and all, there's a different issue that depends upon the culture of the organization and the organization where you're working. So when Peter Drucker says that managers are not born but they're made, it's true, because if there is a potential, and in talent management, that potential is to be only to be found out, and then they are there to be developed. And if they are not developed, no potential is going to work. It is only from that point of view. Do you get my point? What I want to say?
Correct.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Huh. Okay. Okay, then I'll proceed further. So we have talked about various aspects of talent management. Today, talent is most important thing for every organization to exist, to survive, to excel in the environment, in the highly dynamic environment. And from that point of view, you've seen different aspects of talent management: how to acquire people, how to hire people, how to select people, then how to develop people, how to keep people engaged in the organization, how to retain people in the organization. Everything has been said, and everything is a very important part of talent management. But then, having said all those things, there are certain things which are important. Is that what are the best practices? In the sense, amongst all those ones, there are certain things which are important, which should be looked into, which should be taken care of, and that is what will be some extra things we'll be talking about in today's session. And today the session is known as the name of the session is best practices in talent management. So let us now see the potential, see our PowerPoint presentation, and how things are going to happen, right? There's some issue in it. I don't understand. Okay. All right. So is it visible to all of you? The screen is visible.
No, sir.
The presentation is visible to you.
No,
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 sir.
sir.
Not yet, sir.
because sir, I can see like your bandwidth is low, so might be this is because of due to that reason only.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Yes,
Visible now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
All right. So what are the best practices? So there are certain things, certain talks in between, certain things in the process of whatever you talked about talent management. There are certain extra things which are very important. And this has been thought about by different people, different organizations, that certain things which you need to be taken care of in talent management, which generally people do not think about. So the first is, in that process, the first thing is, what I would like to tell you is that the talent management, there is something, there is some current emphasis, and what are the drivers, what are the needs that makes us think about talent management as the most important thing today. What are the drivers of that? As you understand, the first point is that there is a demonstrated relationship between talent and better business performance. Yes, business performance today has got a direct relationship with the better talent availability in the organization. As we have talked at different points of time and different sessions, that talent is the most important human capital today for any organization, and that is a big driving force today. The driver of today's people being engaged in that process of making the talent management properly. Talent is the increasing source of value creation. By talent, we can increase our value creation. The value of the employees, the value of the organization can be increased by the talent, the availability of talent in the organization. Today's business environment is highly complex and dynamic. So, whatever, as you have said earlier, the talent management is a process which must be dependent on the strategy or the business strategy and the business goal and the business of the organization. So today it's highly complex and it's very dynamic. And in that process, the talent management is a very, very important thing which has to be taken care of carefully. Today, the boards in the financial markets are expecting very highly from every organization. The, the stakeholders, everyone is expecting very high from the organizations. And that's one reason why there should be proper talent management in the organizations. The employees' expectations are also changing nowadays, are very highly changing. Their expectations are very high now. Gone are those days when people used to be loyal and in spite of anything and everything, they will stick with the organization, but things are not today like that. There are many expectations from the organization. The organizational objective and the human individual objective has to match somewhere. So the career paths should be seen by the people who are working in the organization. And if that doesn't match, then things will not work. Similarly, the workforce demographics are evolving. Now we're not confined with a small area, then we have got availability of people throughout the world. So availability of talent is there anywhere in the world. And so now there is a wage there is a war of talent, war for talent between the organizations. And people are searching for the best talents and better talents wherever it's available. Now, these are the very important things on the basis of which are the drivers for today's being more, bring more sincerely. The organization has to try for implementing the talent management in the organizations. So now let us see some of the best practices. Best practice one, the start with the end in mind. Talent strategy must be tightly aligned with business strategy. So why we're doing talent management? That is the question. After all, everything has to be seen. We have already discussed about this point, but these are certain things which are highlighted. The business strategy is the most important thing, and everything should evolve from the business strategy. So one has to start with the end in the mind, that what they're going to achieve in the organization, and towards achievement of that, one has to find out, one has to quantify the quantity and quality of the talent required in the organization. So every goal and strategy of the business should drive the quantity and quality of talent. How much quantity of talent you require, how much quality, what kind of quality of talent you require, will be determined only by the goals and strategies of the business, right? So at the same time, as Procter and Gamble says, that business decisions today are the talent decisions. They are the same thing. When you talk of business decision, when you talk of talent decision, it is really portraying the business decisions, how we can achieve our business decisions, how we can really get into those business decisions, complete our business decisions. On the basis of that, the talent decisions are depending upon. Today, the best-in-class organizations, best of the organizations, it is 34% more likely to connect succession management strategies with organizational strategies. As you have said earlier, also the succession management strategy cannot be seen today in isolation. It has to be seen with organizational strategies, right? And this is as per the Aberdeen Group. Aberdeen Group is one of the, one of the US-based marketing company with its presence in United States, France, and Spain and United Kingdom. It says that 34% of the organizations, successful organizations, are more likely to connect even the succession management with organizational strategies. So that means what? One of the best practices for those organizations who are successful, they keep the end in the mind. That what is the business strategy? What is the goal that they want to achieve? And everything has to be evolved out of that. Whether quality of the management, quality of the talent, or the quantity of the talent, or the taking any decision, everything has to be evolved from that business strategy. Well, coming to the next point, the best practice too, the talent management professionals need to move from a seat at the table to setting the table. What do you mean by that is that the people who are going to manage the talent aspects of talent management, they should not wait for the things to happen to be made by others. In a sense, an HR department shouldn't wait for the senior management people, the senior people, to show them the path. They should be involved in that process, right? They have to set the table, not sit at the table, right? The talent managers need to own their part to become the part of that process and serve as their partners in that process of managing the talent. They should be the guide, they should be the trusted advisors. So one should not think that in the process of talent management, everything will be decided by the top management. No, that's the wrong issue. That's the wrong notion. Today, it has to be done in a cooperatively together with a sense of togetherness for the betterment of the organization, for achieving the business strategy or the business goals. So they should own become the part of the process. HR and senior leaders must work together. HR department has to work along with the leaders. They have to suggest their ways. They have to give their points of views. They have to give their ideas to the top management and highlighting each and every important point that is going to satisfy the business strategy. The successful initiatives are to be driven by HR, Human Resource Department. That will be supported by the CEO and other senior leaders in the organization who will provide the resources, the budget, and the communication. So it has to be, rather than waiting for the orders to come from the top management, the HR department has got a responsibility to take the initiative towards the success, towards making this talent management, because they are the people who knows better about this. Right? They know the each and every nitty-gritties, the details about the talent management process. So they should take the initiative, and they should be supported by the senior management, the CEOs, and whatever you call, because they are ultimately going to provide the resource, or the budget, and the communication, and everything. So HR department needs to own it. It is not that they should wait for the things to happen, and they must put in place the professional talent management process. They have to initiate it, and being closer to the business means understanding and visualizing the business goals, understanding and visualizing the business strategy of the organization. Rather than the senior management people talk about that, if the HR department should be able to understand, they should be part of that system, of that process of the organizational growth and organizational development, or the organizational strategy, and they should visualize that what kind of talent management should be put in place, of course with the help and the partnership of the top management, the senior leaders, and the CEO, and everyone at the top place, right? So in a nutshell, the one of the best practice here is that take the responsibility, take the ownership of the HR. It should be initiated by them, rather than waiting for the things to happen from the top management. And that's one very important issue which needs to be thought about in the organizations today. The best practice 3, companies that you must know that what you are looking for. You must know what you are looking for. You see that when you hire people in the organization, for an organization in the process of talent management, right? There is issues in that. Now, whether what we do search for from the people, whether we search for the experience, whether we search for the qualification, what do we search for? That is important, right? And now when we talk about it, it is not merely finding out the qualifications, it's not merely finding out the experience, but what we want that the success profiles are to be chosen. Wherever there are all the indications of being a successful person, that should be initiated. And we'll be talking about the success profile a little later. So first let us understand that companies with better financial performance are more likely to use competencies as the basis for succession management. There's not merely the qualification, there's not merely the experience, how competent they are. Irrespective of what is their qualification, what is their experience, the competence is the most important thing. That should be the basis for the people to be chosen for the hiring, whether it is inside or it is outside. As I was talking about Aberdeen Group, they found the best-in-class companies have clearly defined competency models. And if there are competency models are defined and people are chosen on the basis of the competency models, then the efficacy of the talent management goes very high. It goes, it's about 53% best-in-class companies are following that. And the results are very good. Similarly, there is a research made by Hewitt Group that illustrated that top global companies consistently apply their competency models across the organization. Competency models are very important, and their competence is significantly more aligned with the overall business strategy. How and what competencies can really contribute to the business strategy, that can really contribute to the business growth. Those are to be taken into account rather than only seeing the qualification and experience. No, that's not going to happen. You have to find out the competencies. That is one more very highly realistic best practices today that the top organizations are following. So taking cue from that, now what is the success profile? Because the organizations today have to search for the success profiles. So first and foremost, success profiles are designed to manage talent in relation to business objectives. What qualities, what competencies can bring success in the organization, bring success in achieving the business objectives? That is the most important thing. Those profiles are to be selected. Additionally, they just go beyond the competencies to include 4 complementary components. So what you have seen, it is not merely the qualification and experience, it is the competency that is more important in organization. And apart from the competency, there are a few more components which are important. That is the 4 complementary components, like the competencies, the personal attributes, the knowledge, and the experience, right? But above all, most important aspect is the competency. That has to be added with the personal attributes, knowledge, and experience. When we talk about the competency, it's a cluster of related behavior that's associated with the success or failure in a job. Those behaviors, the group of behaviors, cluster of behaviors that can define whether a job will be a particular job will be a successful job, they will be successful in doing that, or they will become failure in doing that. Those are competencies. For a particular job role, there are certain competencies which will ensure success, and we have to search for that. Similarly, the personal attributes, the personal dispositions and motivation that relate to satisfaction, success, or failure in a job. The personal dispositions and motivations of a particular individual. Now, that is important. We're saying that which can attribute to the failure or success of a job, which can be instrumental in giving success in that job. Those personal attributes are to be chosen because that will be different for different job profiles. The knowledge, the technical knowledge, the professional information associated with particular performance of a job activity. Every job activity has got requirement of certain knowledge, certain technical knowledge, some professional knowledge for successful performance of that job. Those are to be selected and should be found out, searched for while selecting people. The experience, that what kind of experience is important in relation to the job activity. So educational work achievements associated with the successful part of successful performance of the job activities. Those are to be found out. Those are to be searched for. So what you have seen is that today what is important is to find out the competency profiles, the competencies related to a particular job. Those are to be searched for while hiring the people. Apart from that, the complementary components like personal attributes, knowledge, and experience has also to be taken into account. Let's come to the best practice 4. The talent pipeline is only as strong as its weakest link. Now, what is actually being conveyed through this is that, well, people talking about the succession management or the talent management, it generally people thinks about it is more in the top management. They're searching for people for the top management only. No, it's wrong. And there has to be continuous, a complete pipeline of people right from the top to the bottom. Because it is the people who are the top, tomorrow they will gradually move towards the top management, right? So to see the entire pipeline, right? If there is something weak at that bottom, those bottom people are going to come to the top. So the talent pipeline is only as strong as its weakest link. So therefore, talent management must encompass a far broader portion of the employee population rather than concentrating only on the senior leadership succession management. If the organization thinks that we have to take care of the senior people who are going to leave and you have to succeed, the succession management has to be done only for those people, then it's a mistake. And it's a mistaken thought. I mean, that's going to become injurious to the organization, because whenever there will be requirement of the people who should come from the bottom, that will not be available. The ability of an organization to compete depends on the value creation performance of all its key talent at all levels and its ability to develop and promote that talent. So if we find somebody at the middle level, find somebody at the junior level, talented people, they should be developed so that they can get promoted tomorrow to the top management. So one has to concentrate or focus on that entire pipeline of the talent pipeline in the organization. It is a mistaken thought that what generally people think about is that we have to only focus on the top management people, the senior leaders, senior people, and that's a wrong notion. Third, it's a more encompassing approach to manage talent is also essential to proactively manage career transitions, right? So when you talk of management of talent management, there should have a proper understanding of the career transition of the people. And the people get development in their career, growth in their career. Those people are going to be an asset for tomorrow, and they can be used in the succession management properly, right? So it is the continuity is more important. The pipeline of the talented people is more important than to see it isolated in one particular area of the top management or the senior management people. That has to be made very clear in the minds. Well, when you talk of the leadership pipeline model, as we have seen a little earlier, you see how the things develop. It starts on an individual contribution as a team member at the junior management people, junior level. Everyone contributes, becomes a member, a team member. They develop, and he has got some particular talent, certain traits, certain competencies within him. He gradually developed, and he will become a leader within the people in the team. He will make its own path. He will become recognized. He will create the differentiation within himself that he will be recognized by others. And gradually he will become operationally much better. He will contribute better to the organization. And ultimately he will become part of the strategic part of the organization, the strategic people of the top management of the organization. So that is a success profile. People are growing from that lower level, the junior level, where they have started as an individual contributor, to the process where they reach the top management, being a part of the strategic process of the organization, right? This is the transition through which every individual passes through. And in a talent management, that pipeline has to be taken care of, rather than concentrating on the strategic level only. That's a wrong notion. It has to start from the beginning, whereas we will try to select people with a better competencies. But whenever somebody is in the organization, then we should see that how these people are smoothly going up in the ladder. Well, so far we have seen that some of the best practices that is today is important. We thought about, and the last one that we have seen is the leadership pipeline model. If you have got any question in this in between, then you can please ask me. Any question till this? We have seen 3 best practices. Sorry, rather the 4 best practices so far. So is there, if you have got anything to reflect over, anything to share with me, you're most welcome, please. No question? Any question? Hello? No question?
Sir, can you explain once again that leadership pipeline model?
Yes, leadership pipeline model, that's fine. You see, the moment we talk about talent management and we say that we are searching for people who have high competence, who is going to contribute to the organizational performance that we always talk about, generally a notion comes that we are thinking about the top management people or the senior management people. So it is not only true for senior management or the top management people, nor it is only for the middle level management. The process, the leadership pipeline should be, the leader should come from below. The people are joining even at the junior management level. He should be developed so that in his career progression, in his process of his development, he will tomorrow fill up the gap in the succession management. Tomorrow he will become the senior management. Tomorrow he will become a part of the strategic management team, right? So we have to grow people right from the beginning. It's a whole process rather than only isolated thinking that we should have good people at the top management. No, that's not going to happen, right? We have to develop people. We have to look at each and every part of that whole pipeline of leader, right from the junior management to the top level management. Now, that process has to be understood in a talent management process. It is not in isolation. Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Very good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Kumkum this side, sir. Yes, sir. So my question is, whenever we talk about talent management, and you have been explaining also, it is more of a strategic thing. And when we say that strategic things, it's more so related to the top management. I mean, when I say top management, I mean to say the corporate people. So the people sitting over there and being responsible for talent management, it solely lies with them. So my question is a little practical, like me working as a learning and development coordinator for a particular unit or sitting in a particular unit doesn't have a bandwidth. I don't have a bandwidth, to reach out so many other people. I don't have the proper understanding also of talent management. At my own level, when you are talking about, creating a leadership pipeline, when we are talking about anybody who's entering, as a fresher or maybe person working with 4 to 5 years of experience, all those who are working with us, how can, not from anybody else's perspective, my perspective I'm asking, how me working as an L&D coordinator can actually help business in developing those talents, because it's not so that people who are in the managerial level or in the senior management or middle management level are only talented people. There are people who are freshers, but we can find that they are really talented. But once they are into units, they start working, they have been given a particular, sort of activity. They keep doing that activity. So somehow we are sort of, not able to bring out those talent that is present in them. So I want to know how I can actually help business in developing, maybe not from the corporate perspective, maybe at my unit level or a base level, to develop those talents. So if you can enumerate 1, 2, 3 steps that I should follow and that can help business, and I will be grateful, sir.
Right. You see, this is a process of evolution. You understand that today, when you're talking about talent management, it was probably a few decades back, it was not there. Rather, 1 decade back, it was not there. It was not highlighted. Today, we are more concerned about talent management because now we have started understanding few things. Number one, we have started understanding that talent is ultimately the most important thing that is going to create our human capital in the organization. That's very, very important thing. And in today's highly competitive environment, one cannot survive without having the good talents in the organization. Having said that, there is the responsibility of the organization. Now, responsibility of the organization, when you talk about, Now, the strategic part of the thing, since it is a strategic thing, as you have said also rightly, that talent management is a strategic thing in the sense it has to be connected to the organizational objectives and objectives that what we are going to want to achieve in the organization. It has to be connected with that. Of course, it is a strategic thing, and for that, the senior management people has to think about it. But it is not merely confined to the senior management, because they have to also understand that that concept has to be brought into the organization, and there everyone will cooperate and come together. It is not only the top management. Top management can only give the ideas. They can think about it. They can give you the assistance. But ultimately, the things have to be taken, the initiated as the HR department, the human resource department, who are more theoretically knowledgeable about this aspect. But yes, it is in collaboration with, in partnership with each other, HR department and the top management, they together will do. Now, you are asking that, yes, now maybe that certain organizations, you may not find this is possible to be done. But over a period of time, as the things are changing and evolving, the culture of the organization is changing, the mindset of the people are changing, the strategic thinking is also changing, then things will change. Now, when you find some person who are talented at any level, say even with the junior level management, you should be able to hire the spot that person, and you should be able to highlight that person to their respective departments or to the respective seniors. And if he is a talent, really a good talent, who has got those competencies which can contribute to the organization, to try to see that he get better environment, he get better training, he get better exposure to different kinds of work, so that he can get better, he can be developed better and become tomorrow's asset for the organization. That you can always highlight about it. One thing is, a person have got a talent and a capability, but that is being ignored. That is not being taken care of by anybody. But that is a loss to the organization. Today, it is a loss to the organization. If there is some competent person, those are to be chosen, they are to be spotted, and they are to be given all kinds of the developmental aspects are connected with that. Giving them the exposure, giving them training, right? So that kind of thing has to be done. It is also done in general. If somebody is doing well, there is a tendency that the people who are senior to them, to give them the opportunity. In many cases it happens, and that's how you can give your contribution. And that concept of talent management, it is the HR department people have got the responsibility to make it clear to even to the top managing people that the talent management is something important, and in that process we require your help and your assistance and your cooperation in that respect. I think that way you can clear. Please tell me what you want to ask.
So point is again the same thing. I mean,
Yeah,
still
please
the
give.
question remains the same. So when you said that I'm supposed to do this and I should be doing this, but the point is, to prove at least the management over there. I mean, like if I talk about the factory environment, of course, person things, and or a or business or sort of people like suppose factory manager is there, he likes some people, 1 2 people who are very close to him, so generally trade responsibilities are being given to them. And but sometimes when we see that the person, a particular person is really talented, he or she is supposed to be given some development activities, right, of factory manager or maybe the HODs of the department, because it is, as L&D coordinator, how can I so 1 or 2 3 traits of that person? I feel that this person is a very talented person. So how can I mean, chemical sense is there any technical tools or means which is
Okay,
available in the market
yeah,
that we
yeah.
can put into use?
The competency mapping is one of the areas where you can really prove your.
Yeah, right,
That's an
sir.
area.
Agree.
By that you can do it.
Agree, sir.
That's one area. And one
Yes,
more thing I
yes.
would suggest, if I had been in my place, number one, that should be able to find out somebody in the top management who really understands the importance of talent management. Talk with him,
Understood, sir.
if not formally, at least informally, try to impress upon him the importance of talent management. Number one. And we should also arrange some training programs on talent management, talking to the people, bringing all these people together, and the manager in charges of different departments and all that, making them understand the concept of a talent management. Because most of the places people do not know about it. They don't understand
Right,
it.
sir.
And then, as you have
Right,
said,
sir.
that to prove that competency mapping is one area which you can take help of, that becomes a proof for you to claim, yes, this is so what I'm saying. Now, you don't know how
Yes,
to
sir.
ultimately to happen, but prima facie, it seems that this man has got those capabilities and talent that you can argue,
Right, sir.
right?
Right, sir. Agree, sir. Thank you so much for the answer, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think now I should proceed further if there is no question. Huh? Now let us go for the best practice number 5. Well, best practice number 5 is that talent management is not a democracy in the sense that today we have to become choosy. Choosy in the sense, invest in the best. That is the philosophy of Bank of America, that invest in the best. If you have got $1 to spend, you have to think about where you are going to spend it. And if you think that it's a democracy that you should spread over everyone, I think you are not going to end up with nothing. So you have to see, do not make a mistake of trying to spread limited resource for developing people equally across employees. If you have got 10 people to be developed and you spread your entire budget on the 10 people equally, rather than, it doesn't sound good, but the truth is this: if you find a competent person who has got the competence, who has got that particular competency level, and you know that by investing on that person, we can the organization is going to be benefited. It is better to have more share on him, right? So invest in the best. That's one philosophy. It's not a democracy. Give differential focus to promising individuals. The people have got promising, the promises, they have got the competence. You find there are all elements of being who can really contribute to the organization growth and development. Give more focus to them and try to spend a little more on that and give more time to those people. So high potential leaders, those people who are high potential leaders and individuals who can create value for the organization, right? Those people should be more sought after. So the moment you talk about talent management, it is spotting people. It is finding out those people. It is finding out those people with those kinds of competence which can really contribute to the growth and development and achievement of the organizational objectives, right? So spot those people. It's not that you're not going to spend on others, but have more focus on those people, and so that they will become a real asset to the organization. And that's one of the best practices. See, this may be a little deviation from the theoretical part of talent management, but these are some of the practices the top people, the top organizations, they're emphasizing upon. They're doing it. Best practice 6: the potential, performance, and readiness are not the same. Now, when you look for in a talent management process, when you search for people, when you hire people, we look for the potential, people with high potential, people who have got better performance. But the question is, even if somebody has got high potential, it's not necessary that he will become converted into a person who is ready to work. Bring him to that readiness. Potential is something else. But then you have to convert that potential. As today in the morning, somebody asked me a question that of the Peter Drucker said that that talented people are not born, they are developed, right? So even if somebody has got a high potential within him, it's not necessary that high potential person will get converted into a person who is really going to contribute to the organization. So that has to be seen very clearly. And one has to understand that any potential somebody has got, and to converting those potential and getting performance from them and making them ready for the organization who is going to contribute or add value to the organization, it will take time, long time. So that means what? The potential in itself is not enough. We have to invest on, we have to work upon the growth of those people in the form of giving them mentoring, giving them stretched assignments where they can stretch themselves beyond their capabilities and find out their real potential, right? The personalized development plans for individuals, give them the development activities, and by that process, develop the skills. If you become complacent by getting a person with high potential, it's not going to serve anything, right? You have to convert this high potential material into reality. Reality by the process of giving the mentoring, by giving assignment, giving personal development plan, giving them development activities, giving them exposure to different kinds of work, right? And so that ultimately that gets converted into a person who is ready to contribute to the organization. And that's what's being said, that potential, performance, readiness, not the same thing. You should not be complacent with the first one, that he has got a potential and you have done the right thing. No, it has to be done. It's a continuous process. You have to bring that continuous process, that pipeline has to be continued. A potential person joining the organization, then in a gradual process to develop them, and ultimately we can really at every point of time he is going to contribute to the organization, adding some value to the organization. And that's one very important thing to be understood. The best practice 7. Talent management is all about putting the right people in the right jobs. Are you getting my point? That's true, that we have already said. And everywhere you've talked about that it's about putting the right people in the right jobs, right? Now, that means what? Right people in the right job, when you make a selection and hiring, right? In any organization, hiring and selecting people and developing people are two different things. And as we have said always in talent management, the first part is hiring people, attracting people, then hiring people, right? And after that, they become a part of the organization, and then you have to develop people. Develop people, why? Because they have got the potential, as you have said in the earlier point also, they have got the potential, but those potentials have to be developed, right? Now the question, there are two ways of looking at it. Number one, that you get a fruit from the market which is totally ripe, but that is costly. But you get another fruit which is not yet ripe, but it has got potential to become ripe tomorrow. So you can purchase that, put it at your home at a lesser price, and make it it becomes ripened tomorrow, the next day or 2 days or 3 days after. Now, which one is the best? The question here is, the fruit which is ripe, it is already ripe. So there is no point in thinking. There is nothing. There's the question of being a loser at any point of time. But the fruit that you're purchasing, which is not yet ripe, you never know that whether it is going to be going to ripe or not. That means what we are trying to say, I'm trying to say is that even if a person has got a potential and you have to develop them, you never know whether that person will become ultimately being developed or not. There are many ifs and buts in between, right? There's some person who has got the potential, you will develop them, but even after all your efforts to develop him, it is not necessary that he will be developed. So that means what? It's better to get all the ripe fruits on the market on the beginning. So get the people who are really competent and ready to be utilized in the organization, more than getting potential people and developing them. Here you see that we are going a little away from the theoretical aspect of talent management. But this is what the organizations today are more focusing upon. They are in their selection and hiring process. They are focusing more on those people who are ready to be consumed, who are ready to be utilized in the organization, rather than taking the risk of getting potential people and developing them further, right? Because not everything can be developed. It's not necessary that everything will be developed. He may have got the potential, but not necessary. Many elements of success profiles are difficult to be developed, if not impossible. A person's attitude, maybe at times he has got such an attitude you cannot change him, although he may have all the other potentials, right? No, then what's that? Then it may be losing proposition. So it's better. It's not that we will not get people, not take people who have got the potential, but we'll keep an eye on the fact that if you get better people who are already developed, who are ready to be used, better try to select and hire those kind of people. Hiring for the right skill is more efficient than developing those skills. So if you get a ready-made skill, people with high skill already, then it's more better, then it's more desirable than getting people and developing them further. I think you understand my point of view, that talent management is all about putting the right people in the right job. Right potential people is a different issue, and right person today is a different issue. So one has to keep a focus while hiring, that is, as much as is possible, they should get the ready-made people who are already can be utilized in the organization. That is going to save many things. The best practice 8. Talent management is more about how than the what's. And we may have talked about other many things. What is important in the organization? Having towards growing people, developing people in the process of talent management. Executive board, software platforms, 9 blocks, grid comparing potential to performance, development plans, training and more training. Everything is required. But the question is, more than that, how is more important? There are 5 factors which are very important to be executed in the organization. That's going to give better results. Although all and everything is important, those things are also important. What are the first hand? There are certain things which are very, very important. One should look for that. Number one, in the communication, link the talent management. Initiative to the business drivers. Put forward a vision the organization can rally around, and sets expectations for what will happen in the organization. Let everyone in the organization be made a part of the process of growth and development of the organization. Everyone should think about the process of thinking about changing the organization. Being a part of it has to be initiated right from the day one. Let everyone become part of that process. It is the responsibility of the top management, of the CEOs or the people at the top management to share their ideas, their vision with people, communicate their vision with the people down below, right? So that from the very beginning, they become part of the whole process of the organization, the changing the organization, right? That's very important, because that will create a mindset among the people to change themselves, to get the drive within them, to make them develop themselves to a better person who can really contribute to the organizational performance. Accountability, the role clarity is important. And each individual in the talent management initiative knows what is expected of them. We have also talked about earlier, while talking about the employee engagement, because we wanted to ensure that the people should be retained in the organization, and for that we talked about people should be engaged in the organization. And in that process of engagement, one very important thing that people should know very clearly what is expected of them. What is their role? What is their accountability? What is their responsibility? And what is expected from them in a very clear term that makes them more inclined or more motivated to work in the organization. So communication, accountability, and the skill. We require to develop the right skill in providing coaches and mentors for support. We want skill. We don't want qualification. We don't want anything else. But we want a person can perform something, right? So give that skill. For that, if required, we can have, the organization can have the coaches and mentors to practically do the things in the organization. Alignment. Must align management initiative with the business drivers. Also need to right kind of systems to identify high potential, to diagnose for development, to link to performance management. Everything has to be aligned with the performance management of the organization, right? And those kinds of changes, those kinds of development, that can really bring the changes in their behaviors, which is ultimately going to contribute to the growth and development of the organization, which is ultimately going to contribute to the performance of the organization. It is aligned with that. Alignment is very important. Why we are developing people, with what purpose? The purpose is aligning with the business objectives. We are expecting such kind of change behavior among the people, and those who are going to really contribute to the organizational what organization is striving for, what organization is looking for. And the next point is measurement. You can't manage what you don't measure. You know, there it has to be very much specific. If you cannot really measure something, you cannot manage it. And therefore, the effective measurement go beyond mere statistics. You should be able to measure in clear and concrete terms how the things are affecting the organization's growth from the talent management, how the talent management process, the procedure, and that's what you're following in the organization, how it in clear terms it's going to contribute to the growth of the organization. That has to be measured. So if you keep an eye on these 6 points, which are important, at the 5 points, the communication, that making people being part of the vision of the organization, making the role very clear to them, crystal clear, developing the skill, they should be aligned to the organizational objective, and the organization should be able to measure the changes it is coming out of implementing the talent management process. Right. Now let us see the best practice 9. Software doesn't equal talent management. I know there is a fancy in certain organizations that we will manage talent management, we will have very good software, and we'll do everything. Well, softwares are important. Softwares are going to contribute. Softwares are going to do many things and many help when taking various decisions in the area of talent management. But that's not all. That's not everything. Just by getting a good software, you cannot manage the talent. You cannot make the talent management happen in any organization. A good software can provide a full talent management system, but that's not all. That's not all. It's a tool. Tools are nothing but something which is to be used by a person who has got the right expertise to use it. Because the right ingredients are required behind them to make it run. So therefore, merely the software is not going to help us. We require the right expertise. That means what it says, that we require to develop people rather than only depending upon a good software. We should be very clear how we can develop people who gather the expertise to use those kinds of software effectively, so as to really create an impact on the talent management process in the organization. It requires a system constructed by knowledgeable experts. The people who are knowledgeable in that area of function or the area of performance, who have implemented those things over a period of time and know how the things impacts in a particular situation. They know very clearly what works and what doesn't work. Such kind of people should be at the back of those softwares. So it's not merely the software that's going to help us. We have to find out those people. We have to choose people. We have to develop people, giving them the expertise to use those softwares, which will really going to contribute to the process of talent management in the organization. So this is also one very important aspect of the. And now for your benefit, I'm just going to talk about all those best practices. Just what we're going to read out. Best practice 1: start with the end in mind. Talent strategy must be tightly aligned with business strategy. While talking about the talent management, we must have in mind what is the business strategy. So what we are going to achieve out of it. That should be the first thing which you have to keep in mind. Talent management professional, it should have a cooperative thing. It should be togetherness. Nobody should think that I will get instruction from the top management and the HR department will function only after that. HR department should be part of that process. They should initiate the process and get the cooperation of the top management, right? So talent management professional need to move from a seat at the table to setting the table. You must know what you are looking for, the role of success profile. We want to have success profiles, not qualification, not experience, everything is required. But if it can give a success profile, we are only interested in that. And that success profile includes some competencies, personal attributes, some knowledge, some experience, and all that. The talent pipeline is only as strong as its weakest link. We should not search for the people for a particular level. Say, for example, not only from the senior management people, the top management people. We should develop people right from the junior management people. So we should create a pipeline of people who are being developed at different stages, who can really replace people at different stages of their growth in the career. So it's a leadership pipeline model. Then it's saying that talent management is not a democracy in the sense that organizations today would like to spend more on those people who have got the more potential, who are got more promising to the organization, really going to contribute to the organization, rather than sharing the whole thing amongst all the people, being very, very highly practical. The potential, performance, and readiness are not the same thing. It's a merely somebody has got a potential doesn't mean that somebody will be prepared to really contribute to the organization. That means what? Even if we get a potential people, we should be able to develop them, grow them, and to make them really ready for being used in the organization. And talent management is all about putting the right people at the right job. It's better that we get the people, ready-made people. We are already competent people with high competence who can be readily used in the organization, rather than getting them and developing them. Although in a talent management process, this is the important thing. You may not get the exact people. You have to get the potential people and develop them. But if somewhere we get people who are more suitable right from the beginning, they are more, we should have more preference for those kinds of people. Talent management is more than what is how and the words, how it's to be done, and many things are required. Many things are required, but few of the things like communication, accountability, skill, alignment, measurement are very important issues to be looked into. And the last but not the least, that talent management cannot be managed by the software alone. We need to develop people. We need to get people who are got the expertise to manage it. Those who have seen that they have the experience of implementing such things in the organizations, they should be made and developed so they can really use the software. Now, with that, we are coming to the end of the session as well as the entire program of our talent management. And the next session will be having a review session. So now, so far in today's whatever I have said today, if you have got any question, you are most welcome to ask me, please. No question?
Shruti sir.
Yeah, please.
So the hiring that takes place, for the MDs, management trainees, and the graduate
Just
trainees.
once more, things are not clear to me.
So the hiring, sir, the hiring that we do
Yeah.
for MTs, like management trainees that we hire from the premier colleges and all, like IIMs, XLRIs and all. And we also go for hiring BTech students as a graduate engineer trainee. So, so what do you say when about this? When is it a part of talent management activity only, or it's something else?
No, it's definitely part of the talent activity. And definitely misled by some of the best practices that has been said here. It is definitely part of the talent management process, because there you are going to find out the potential and maybe probably some of the competencies also. So certain behavioral aspects of the things and certain attitudinal aspects also you are going to see. So certain things you are going to trying to find out among those people, and you will get very good people who can become tomorrow's, who got the right potential to become tomorrow's contributor to the organization. That's a part of the talent management process. But the process is not merely hiring from there. Finding out those people who are really competent. That's a part of the talent management process. It is not just getting anybody from there, but to find out competent people who have the right potential, and getting them is a part of the talent management process, of course. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Then in that context, when we say that you just said that there are 2 points that came. One point was like hiring potential people. Then another point was talent management. Nowadays, the companies are looking forward for hiring those people who have already proven their talent. So when we talk about MTs and BTech students, they have generally displayed their knowledge level, their intellect over there, by passing out the exams and passing out a good exam for a premier college. But when we talk about skills, Because when we talk about talent management, again, we are coming back to the skills, because a person probably have a knowledge base, but the person is not able to prove himself in terms of skills or in terms of attitude. And when these things are not being proven there in the colleges, because they are just doing their studies and they're passing out the exams, how are we talking about that these people are talented? With what assumption we are hiring them?
Right.
Just that because they have a good knowledge base or they have cleared the good exams? Because I have seen many people in the organization who have not cleared these exams, but they are much better than MTs and BTechs. But still, the tag of passing out some good exam from the premier colleges is something that goes with them, and they still come in the talent pipeline. They have been focused by the company.
Yeah.
So I want to understand, sir, what goes with that? What assumption goes with that?
You see, there are two things. Number one, as you have said it rightly, the people in those management, the MTs, management trainees that you take from the management institutes, they have got the potential. They have got certain behavioral aspects with them, which who may be changed or developed to a particular skill or particular competence. So the one thing is the potential. The another thing is, you are not taking everyone as management trainee in the organization. You will get some people. You will also have some people who are already experienced at working in some other different organization, right, with certain other experiences. What I mean to say is that there should have a mix of everything. One thing is the talented people who are already proven themselves. Another thing, who have got the competence and the potential, which can be seen by the competency mapping or by any other process, the HR processes, by which you can really identify some of the attributes and skills and talents within them, and they can be developed tomorrow. We are also going to take them. Now, when you say that, how are you going to spot it? Again, today there are various, the psychometric issues are there. There are certain competency mappings are there, by which you can place, to some extent, to some good extent, we can identify people who have got the potential to become tomorrow's good worker, right? And that's how we are going to claim that, yes, these people have got the potential. And then, of course, one thing is, getting that potential in itself is the end of the story. You have to develop them. If somebody has got some weakness in certain areas, or somebody needs to have some kind of training or growth or exposure in certain areas, you need to do that. You may not get 100% results, but to a large extent you will get the result, because it is better if you have got a proper technical competency mapping. And then you can, to a large extent, you can really find out people who have got the potential to contribute to the organization. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I got my answer, sir.
Anybody else have a question, please? No question, Mr. Agrawal? I'll see you in the next, our last session. I don't know when it will happen, maybe in the next week, most probably. I'll meet you there. Till that time, goodbye. All the best. Take care.